Comic Book Look!
Hey comic book lookers, it's your boy John on Demand here, rocking out 6-year anniversary with the Team Supreme Sarge Ken Tom co-CEO is in the cut. We're all in the cut today. We're totally in the cut.
Yep.
That opener was in the cut.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
What?
That was awesome.
Yeah, it was.
6 years.
Let's hope.
6 years.
Doesn't even feel like 6 years.
6 years. How long does it feel like, Mike?
I don't know. Somewhere in there.
6 months.
Especially if you watch a lot of the episodes together and just...
Ken, how long have you been? I mean,
about 4 years.
Almost 4 years, Ken.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're dominating, but the original duo, 6 years, man. Glad to be here with you, John. Glad for a lot of those guys who are still around, saw us through all our ups and downs, the ups of us having fun, the downs of being on Inveterate Media Junkies, the downs of me having a kid and like not going like 8 months without a video at one point, and having, even though when I was slacking hard, we had John holding the channel together.
You're holding it down now.
Making sure that we didn't fucking fall off the complete face of the earth. So now we are still here after 6 years. I'm so excited to, have the crew that we have now with the Sarge and Ken and Skyler, wherever he is. And, it's pretty dope. We've definitely seen a lot of things change in the comic realm, but then a lot of things... Now we've been in so long, we get to see how those wheels turn and go full circle over and over and reset and event and everything.
Issue number 1 again.
Yes.
And again.
So, I know that like when we first started, I was like event fatigued. Yeah. I remember saying things like event fatigued. Yeah. John was like just missing Dark Avengers so much, or actually loving Dark Avengers right when we started. Yeah. Went to missing it. And then now, I mean, how many events have they had since then? Nothing has changed, but we still remain. And yeah, I think also I've seen like the industry fans and stuff switch over from like loving Marvel to loving DC to loving Marvel to loving DC to loving Marvel to right now loving DC and not loving Marvel.
And the growth of the last of the big three. I mean, we've seen Image just getting bigger and bigger. Yeah. People, are just... getting large hits on the Walking Deads and Invincibles and some of them.
Walking Dead sells over 100,000 copies when it comes out. So now we are at a point where it's selling Batman levels, and so now Image really can be a part of the big three because Walking Dead holds it, for sure. And then if you want to look at their other titles, Deadly Class and Paper Girls and Lazarus and things like that, those are your Aquaman's, Nightwings, everything else that sells. They sell damn near just as much of those. Not as much, of course, but they also don't have the overhead of having to deal with advertisers and Warner Brothers and everything else. So it's very cool that at the beginning I absolutely, was a huge proponent for Image, and now Image just is in the talks now when you talk about the big publishers. So that's super cool.
I think that, part of that is because of our show.
I agree.
So modest.
Totally.
Definitely.
I mean, I'm being modest. Like, the Image, board of directors, reached out to Tom and I and
of course
thanked us profusely for our service.
I'm like, I've had to, block Eric Stevenson's phone calls, nonstop. It's like, dude, I can't tell you exactly what to publish every month. Come on, dude.
Mm-hmm. Well, but as somebody who used to watch your videos, would be a big two boy, a little more Marvel heavy than DC. I did pick up Happy after you guys talked about it. I did pick up a couple more of the ones that you said were a little wackier. Of course, I did not grab China the Poodle in time. Those were off the shelf. They were all signed away. But, I mean, that was the thing, is there were a lot of books I would not have heard of if it wasn't for shows like your guys's.
Of course, yeah. And, I mean, I wanted to start a show because I was watching shows, and then we started a show that long ago, and then there's been tons of people now that are like, oh, yeah, I was just watching shows like yours, and that's why I wanted to start a show. And now... we're a part of this really cool YouTube community in comic books, and it's super fun to be a part of. And it's super fun to tell our opinions and try to be positive and still, have to lay down some truth every once in a while. Yeah. But yeah, I think one of the most infamous segments of a comic book look of all time is something that we have directly stole from Batman and Ra's al Ghul with the Lazurus Pit, motherfuckers.
Shit.
All right, so you know what that means, guys. Let's start brewing this thing, John. All right. What is the Lazurus Pit? Tell them all about it. You know,
So,
give them a little background.
Right, so the Lazarus Pit, you know, usually it means that we're bringing something back to life. In this case, what we do is we take... One of the things the show values is good beer. Well, this is not that. So we also like good comics. Well, the comics that will be taking a bath here soon in the Lazarus Pit will be bad comics and bad beer.
Yes.
Basically.
So instead of Ra's al Ghul being renewed, this is more like making a Jason Todd.
Well, more like, I would say it is a lot like Ra's al Ghul because, you know, when you're like on death's door and you're like morbid and you're about to die and like you really have no redeeming qualities about you left, like these comics that need to be dipped, you must go into the Lazarus Pit, and at the heart of the creator is the one that feels this, because from this pit comes better stories with the books that we're doing. Originally, we got Thunderbolts, and John put in Thunderbolts #1, which was an atrocity when it came out, and from that, he has gotten another Thunderbolts run that was incrementally better. And so it must have worked.
Yeah.
It must have worked.
So when we do this exercise, you guys, we have the best of intentions.
We're doing this for you.
We're doing this for all of you. We vote with our dollars.
That's right.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I think that you guys should definitely help with us. I'll definitely crack some open here.
All right.
Oh yeah.
But this is definitely a group effort. This is why we're using it.
I've drank worse, but not by much.
All right.
It's just got a couple chunks in it.
Yeah, I'll take a drink for the Lazarus Pit.
Yeah, to Lazarus.
To Lazarus.
To Ice House, baby.
Ugh.
All right, here we go.
Tastes like hangovers.
From these depths come the worst comics of all, to better the industry with more ideas that may suffice.
How much of this is foam?
Dude, the Lazarus Pit bubbles and boils. Come on.
Toil and trouble.
And it will for a while.
That's kind of fun to watch.
Oh,
That's good stuff. That's good stuff.
That is good stuff.
You gotta let it breathe some, yeah.
The overhead view. Oh shit.
Action shots. Don't worry, that tripod's secure, boys.
Yeah.
I wouldn't worry about it one bit.
Only the sharpest edge. This is something we recovered from NASA to film this. So.
Yes, but she's a bubbling, boys.
Yep.
And, that's where the books are going to go. What books are going to go this time? You'll have to find out later, because before we get to that, let's talk Devilish. All right, guys. As you can see, this is the 666 episode, and we're talking major devils. And, devils are scary, and we all think that, and we're all scared of them. But sometimes it's fun to read comics with devil-like or devilish intended characters, and so I wanted to jump right in and say one of the ones that comes right to mind for everybody should be Hellboy, right? Yeah. He's the devil that everybody still loves. He's a hellspawn demon that was born in the 1600s, and then some Nazis got him in 1944 to become a baby in this plane, and he was taken over by the Allied forces and then raised as a regular kid. And so now we get his story of how he teams up with his other friends, and then they just fight the occult and supernatural, and it's as you guys have seen the Ron Perlman movies, it's super fun. And if you haven't seen the Ron Perlman movies, watch them. They're great.
They're good.
And so the best part about Hellboy is how stylish this became. So at the beginning, this is the first trade. It's Mike Mignola who created him and designed him, and then John Byrne, who is a super famous writer, amazing runs on Superman and X-Men, and he helped script it for Mike Mignola, and they came up with this whole story. And the thing about it is Mike Mignola's art is none of its own. So, nothing else is like it. It's super creepy and dark and blocky and chunky and super heavy on the inks, and but it makes for this ultra stylist, gothic approach where like everything looks like mythic and gothic, and it becomes like such a good comic series. I know there's huge trades out, and I mean huge collection of a lot of trades, or you can get a bunch of them combined together. But I definitely suggest if you're looking at Devilish Creatures is Hellboy. Have you guys ever read any of them?
Yes.
Yes. I've read a couple of the trades, and right now I'm picking up the Hellboy 1954. So it's young Hellboy learning to be with the BPRD.
Nice. Yeah.
So I think that's a good jumping on point for people. It's a fairly new comic within the last couple years, and it's like either 2 or 3 issues at a time run. So you get like a 1951, a 1952, 53, and I think I'm on 54 now.
Yep. And that's just, Mignola doesn't do the interiors anymore and hasn't for like years, but these stories are so good and they get just great artists all the time. I mean, and you get Dave Stewart is like,
coloring. Yeah.
is coloring almost all of the Hellboy books, which he is like, could be the best colorist like in ever. So.
He's definitely the glue that ties them all together because it
sure.
definitely creates a theme. We talk about house art, whether if it's DC or Marvel. You get a lot of crisp lines. A lot of it is homogenized, does look the same. Dave does create a same feel, but each story allows it to explore out. So I don't think it waters anything down.
No, I definitely don't think so either. And it's a cool mythos to be like a part of. And no, I absolutely love Hellboy. But yeah.
And it's a huge run if you really want a lot to read.
Oh yeah. I mean, I have a bunch of the trades back here. I probably have like 6 trades, and then I started like reading, single issues probably like 7 or 8 years ago. But I mean, it started in 1993, so I mean, like this has been going on for a very long time.
Yeah. So you can get that. You can get then Abe Sapien, BPRD, Hellboy in Hell. Just so many spin-offs. So.
Exactly, and there's a bunch of like funny one-shots with Hellboy with this person, Hellboy with this person, and crossovers and stuff like that. So
I can't wait until the day somebody realizes that would make an awesome television show and actually do an entire series of Hellboy.
Yeah, it'd be great. I mean, I think the movies are good, and I think they're in talks to do another Hellboy movie.
Yeah.
So.
Even if they just did a BPRD.
That would be the show.
Yeah.
The show would have to be a BPRD. I mean, because you just
kind of an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. kind of thing.
exactly. I mean, it's already like the comic is set for it. So what it is, BPRD is just a team of a government-sanctioned group that just fight and stop supernatural
What is it, Bureau of Paranormal Research and Development?
Yep.
Correct. Yep.
So yeah. But yeah, so I mean that's my hellish, ghoulish creatures. What do you guys bring to the table for Devilish?
I was gonna say too with Hellboy, he made a cameo at one of our Halloween parties.
Oh
And
yeah,
that was pretty rad.
that was
Yeah.
sick. I forgot about that. That was a dope costume.
So, I'll bring up a classic, I guess, with Mephisto from the Marvel U. And with that, I actually brought in a 4-issue run of Mephisto versus pretty much everybody. So you can imagine all the dialogue that these issues contain, from Sue Storm talking about her feelings all the way to we have X Factor with the
I
original
love that
5.
they have X Factors right
X-Men.
at the time that had X Factor.
Yeah, and then the Avengers, of course, right at the end there with just everybody at the time. So this was definitely over the top. Thank goodness it wasn't part of a big event, but it was for what it was a lot of fun. I remember reading through it, wanting to learn more about the character, and I'm not really convinced that I accomplished that just because of how much talking came from the teams that he was going up against.
Sure.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a bummer.
But I feel like he has came about in like I feel like in other stories here and there.
And he just appears randomly.
No, there you go. Yeah. I mean, and he is like just the Marvel's devil, right? I mean, like he's called Mephisto, but he's just the devil.
Yeah, making deals. It's all about the deal that he can make and can you beat him. Loki often challenges him. Other people, that want to try and get around and do deals. So.
Yep.
Well, all right, guys. What else do you guys have for devils? Devils.
Are we just going around?
Yeah, just go around or say whenever you want to say, Ken.
Well, then I'm going to go. Mine's not technically devilish, but he has some interaction with the devil.
Yeah.
Well, that's devilish as you come, man.
I'm going with John Constantine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a big Constantine fan. Even the Keanu Reeves movie, I got a kick out of.
I love it.
I like the series. I wish they bring the series
it's
back. This is a Justice League Dark book. This is Justice League Dark Zero. It's kind of the beginning of Constantine before, the smoking with the coat and all of that. I thought it that was a really cool story. I just am a big fan of Constantine. I'm really hoping they bring the series back at some point in time on television, because I think it would be an excellent one to be able to watch.
Oh yeah, and Constantine's dope. You know, he tricked the devil into taking away his lung cancer. There's been times where he's like froze hell over. There's like Constantine is constantly in the works with the devil character, and I Constantine came about from Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing's like this green that's like supposed to be like sometimes the opposite of the red, which is kind of like also known as hell in the Swamp Thing books. So like that kind of all ties in together with a perfect 666 episode. What else though? What do you got?
So I decided to pick Dawn from Cirrus. This is a 6-issue series.
Oh, how
And
about that?
and I picked this probably
Lust.
way back in the early 90s. Yeah, I bet it was early 90s. I
Really?
grabbed this one, yeah. It was, it caught my eye. I thought it was, sneaky, sexy. But mainly, in this issue, there is these people are basically living in a hell on Earth, and there's one tower in the distance that may be to symbolize the trip to heaven. So they're trying to get there, and the halo that you see our main character in the background carry is Lucifer's halo. And that's the idea, is if you can carry it, it is your key to get into heaven. So this was a great series back then.
Oh, yeah.
And really enjoyed it. I mean, this
Series
was
up there.
my first of my forays into independent comics. So
Yeah,
cool,
for
very
sure. That's
cool.
super cool, man.
back when they didn't put the names of the people on, the creators and all that on here.
I have a Dawn and Vampirella
Oh, yes,
crossover
yep.
one. That's kind of fun.
Oh yeah.
that
Now
was-
that is a devilish duo.
That is a devilish duo. I should have brought that one.
In fact, this one was printed in Canada, and
They're all
Hey.
printed in Canada.
are they?
Yeah.
I know actually very little about.
They have they have more staples in Canada than anywhere else, so they have to print it there.
All right.
I'm just making that up.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I was like, industry,
You know, it has a-
industry mind blowing.
If you say it strongly enough and with conviction, people will believe you.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? I actually heard one time that Canada does have more staples. But yes, that's that's definitely dope that you still got that issue, you know, and that didn't go through the wayside one time. But yeah, I think the next book though that you have laying here, this is the one that is for the real devil kids. That they got in some big trouble playing some of this stuff.
I
What's
remember
going on?
that. I was
Yeah. So as you know, of course, in the late '80s, if you did D&D, you were obviously into the devil. You were, satanic acts. It was the big thing. I think there was, Congress explored.
Oh yeah,
it.
there was. They had like a hearing and
Yeah,
stuff.
and it was the horrible idea. And of course, I did play. I had the box set with the plastic dice and hung out with my friends after school for hours and hours and hours on end, because that's what a good nerd does. This is before I found comics. Then I found a comic about it. So this is one of my enjoyable $1.50 way back in. Well, heck, when TRS was, or TSR was still making comics, and so I'm like, this is the series to have. This is Forgotten Realms, enjoyable. It had all the characters, it had everything from the source material. The writers knew what they were doing, and this is one of the 4-part. I think this ended up being like 40-issue run or something. It was great to find it at the. I was picking up comics from the grocery store at that time with the money that I squirreled away from my chores, because that's what I did.
And when you could still get comics at the grocery store,
Yeah.
definitely late 80s, early 90s, that was the thing. You definitely could. So
So thankful to have Rainbow Comics and Collectibles now, but back then you had to search for it and hope it was there.
I remember when that was like such a, you can't play that game, that's going to get you into devil worship and witchcraft.
Oh,
yeah, me hearing that later, like when I was in later in high school, so I'm not nearly as old as like these two. So it was the late '90s, and
Drinking my Ovaltine here.
and even at the late '90s, early 2000s, that like drew me to wanting to play Dungeons and Dragons because it was like the devil's related. I just think that's cool.
That horrible Tom Hanks movie, Mazes and Monsters, that just promoted the hysteria. If you haven't seen it, you should at least check it out. It's horrible.
Yeah.
Games will make you go crazy and kill people. Yeah. I know.
And shout out to my favorite Forgotten Realms character, Driss Duerden, my favorite Dark Elf of all time. So, but
make sure you drink your 2 gallons of Mountain Dew and your entire bag of Doritos. Doritos. You
Cool
tell
Ranch
last
in
time
my
I ate a Dorito? Dorito.
You guys, we were talking about how grocery stores used to sell comics. I think comic shops need to start selling groceries.
Yeah, get with it. Get with it, man. Where am I going to get my bananas?
Come on, Dave, get on that.
Let's get on that. Kick a H&R block out and open a mini mart for the
So we can get our Mountain Dew and a Dorito.
Wednesday, where we'll be. So there you go.
My Spanish is a little off. Doritos.
Oh my gosh. I got nothing.
That was all of Mexico just dropped us now.
We just lost.
They're just all upset now.
On that note, I think I'm going to go ahead and finish my last one.
All
So
right.
John's got a bit of a stack here.
Actually, I have 2 left.
So okay, that's not so bad. So Devilish again. This is not technically specific devil, but it kind of ties in with voodoo. So kind of the same. We've got Chucky, or Charles Lee Ray, the mass murder in the body of a
serial
killer.
killer.
And I was always a fan of the movies. I saw the comic book. I'm like, I have to get it, and it's actually a pretty good comic. So I just think
that's crazy. That's a pretty good comic.
kids today had Elf on the Shelf. We had Chucky. Believe me,
We had Buddy.
when that doll moved, you weren't happy about it the next day like you are nowadays.
I still have a My Buddy, and like I thought it would be fun, to have it around my kids, and then they just thought it was fun, because they have no context. I'm like, no, you should be freaked the fuck out on that.
We're gonna watch Child's Play tonight.
It didn't work, but definitely those movies when I was growing up were like the coveted movies I wanted to watch, and on TNT and TBS every once in a while they'd be on. If my mom wasn't around, I could get them on until she came down. She'd be like, "What are you watching? You can't watch this." And then I remember being old enough to finally watch them. I watched them. I was like, oh man, major disappointment. These movies are not that good.
Well, yeah, when you were young enough that they ran on TV, me and Ken watched old scrambled, channels of HBO. Yeah, where maybe it was a boob, maybe it was an elbow.
Oh, was that a nipple? No, it was an eyelash.
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing about Chucky is, 1980 whatever is when the first movie came out. There's a movie coming out this year or next year, The Cult of Chucky.
Oh
so
my God.
20, 25, 30 years later, it's still going strong.
Exactly.
So I mean, that just shows
it's a franchise, baby.
When's
the next Problem Child movie, huh?
Whenever they resurrect that kid from the grave.
That's all I have for Devilish.
What else?
Well, you guys, I had to celebrate the diversity of my collection, so I brought another offering from Image Comics.
Yes!
So I have the only issue of Spawn that I own physically. Spawn Kills Everyone, which came out recently.
Nice!
Where he basically, the cover has Iron Man's head and Captain America's shield. He actually literally kills cosplayers at a Comic-Con, which is hilarious. So I love that, but I also love to make fun of myself because Spawn as a character is really cool. And I'm kind of disappointed in myself that I don't own any Spawn
you need
at
to,
all.
because I have
At all.
It would help if you were 10
Tom
years
has
older.
5 million.
Yeah.
I mean, you can borrow the first trade, John.
Yeah.
Well, and the funny part about that book was the whole reason he was killing everyone is he's trying to get his own movie made.
Yeah. And then the last one I brought was actually just Marvel's The Supernaturals. I only have issue 4 of 4. It's a 4-issue run. Normally I absolutely detest stuff like that, but when it's a random gathering of people, including Ghost Rider, I'm like, yes, I want to read this.
There is so much going on this cover. It's like you cannot even make out what is possibly
And then
happening.
it comes with a free Halloween mask, which is amazing. I'm pretty sure we've talked about this on the show before. But
It's still awesome.
I'm so excited about that. I don't know why. So.
Hell yeah, man. I can this brewing's really happening here.
Yeah.
It settled down though. That's good. It's starting to.
I think
all the evil talk. I think is starting to get it going.
I know. I think it's hungry.
Yeah.
It's gonna need a victim soon.
It's hungry.
All right, guys. But hey, so what are we gonna do? Are we gonna do Lazurus Pit, or we did also want to mention just our best books of the year, or the best books since we started a comic book look. I don't know if you guys had, had prepped an
I can
answer
taste
for
that
this.
one over here. That was delicious.
Sorry about that, guys. Maybe I'll edit that out.
Just put like a Mario coin.
Yeah, one-up sound or something.
The one I picked, unfortunately, I couldn't locate my copy of it.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah.
It didn't come out this year, but I picked it up and read it this year, so I think that counts.
Oh yeah, it doesn't have to be this year, just since you started with a comic book look. So you got 4 years.
Oh yeah, I got some good ones. But the one I really enjoyed, and it's going to sound kind of funny, was the Spectrum Wars, the Green Lantern, Star Trek crossover. I really got a kick out of that one. I really liked it, and it was the new Star Trek characters from the movies. You know, the Chris Pine, those characters meeting the Green Lantern, and you know, Necron is coming into their universe, and it was just a really cool series, and I've actually reread that a couple times.
Yeah, I think it's excellent.
And I mean that you can't find a more Ken answer than that one, boys.
Yeah.
And now there's another sequel
Ken's
coming out.
favorite series through the last 4 years is the Star Trek TV or movie spinoff crossover with the Green Lantern Corps.
That's only because you haven't read the Green Lanterns and Planet of the Apes one yet.
I haven't, but I do have the Planet of the Apes and the Tarzan one, which is also pretty good.
All right.
I love it. I absolutely love that, Ken. I mean, that makes you the man.
Yeah.
Because how could that even jump to your mind? That's great. It's absolutely great. I appreciate that so much. How about you, John? What's like one of the best series that you've read over the last 6 years now?
What do you think my answer is?
I think it's going to be Dark Avengers.
I actually am not going to say
or Thunderbolts.
Nope.
Oh.
Yeah. Holy
Dark
crap.
Avengers 2. It's coming out next.
No. I actually, I was thinking about that, and I think that I have to give, a huge kudos to Avengers Academy. I think
dude.
From start to finish.
Surprise, yeah.
It tackled a lot of crazy issues.
And
it was fun.
Introducing great new characters. Yeah. That's where we get Amadeus Cho. That's where we get a bunch of awesome characters that are now in. Not to mention, everybody's complaining that nobody takes chances. John always buys the book with the new characters and the young ones that are coming up. Yeah. And it's they do, guys. The publishers do. You just have to read them. Yeah. And dude, that is such a good pick. Because it's also that has so much impact. When it was coming out, it wasn't the most top-selling book, and not everybody talked about it. But that series has way more impact than a bunch of the issues that people were talking about.
Yep.
Oh, dude.
I love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, that is a great answer, dude. Yeah. So how about you, Mike?
I have a theory I want to guess on Mike's.
Oh, yeah.
Is it going to be the Flintstones?
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, surprisingly, as a child, I
too.
hated it. Would turn the channel. I was not a big fan. Saw the comic, and I was lucky. Once again, we do have the store here. I can flip through it, and within 2 or 3 pages, I was sold on the art. I saw 1 or 2 funny jokes already in it. It was way smarter than I thought it would be. It was funny, and like I said, the artwork was just colossal in it. So, I mean, I was hooked on that.
I've heard nothing but great things about it from everything. But I'm waiting for a trade. I want to get it all
and
in one.
Well, the first trade is out. Second trade is coming. It was a 12-issue run, and it's done. I can't wait to see what they do now with Snagglepuss, and then there's a couple other options that's out on the table. So
cool.
Yeah, I'm down for it to see what else Hanna-Barbera does.
Oh yeah,
I'm liking all the new Scooby-Doo they're doing. The Wacky Racers that you were talking about.
Yep.
I think they're just they're taking the things that I remember from being a kid. And changing them so I can enjoy them as an adult and be like, yeah, this is way cooler.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes it good for sure. And that's a good pick. I mean, out of left field for the industry, and then somehow grabbed everybody's attention when it was coming out. So that's such a good. They got to be back because it clearly people were talking about that book the whole run. So definitely my favorite book that for the whole run. It's I want to immediately say Saga, right? Because that's what I always talk about. But I would say for pure I love Saga because it's shocking and it's so beautiful and there's these different things that are just is essence to comic booking, which makes it good. But I would have to say my favorite series is Lazurus, and I know I've talked about that as well, but it's perfect to make the segue into it. But Lazurus is this book that started, I don't know, probably 3.5 years ago now or so, maybe possibly a little bit more. and when I first got on, I definitely really enjoyed it. Super happy to have Michael Lark back, who did Gotham Central forever, which I was like one of my favorite series. So then you get Greg Rucka writing with Michael Lark, and it was really good. But then at about like issue 14 or 15, when you really get accumulation of what this whole entire encompassing world is like, I feel like the story of Lazarus is telling like the best story and like overarching story of looking at what humanity's like, mixing it with hard sci-fi and facts, and like producing something that has never been done this way in comics before. So yes, it has been super slow lately, and it hasn't had an issue out in probably I feel like 6 or 7 months, but hopefully I hear there's going to have a mini series. They're taking like a year off. Yeah. I'm totally fine with that, because I would love Lazarus to go for like the next 5 or 6 years. Yeah. It is a story that like the writer Greg Rucka has thought more about the world of Lazarus than like I would say even Kirkman has thought about Walking Dead. Yeah. And so I mean that's fucking insane.
Because they did put out the supplemental information. If you want a whole booklet full of just information on that world, I think that was smart of them.
Oh yeah, they're called source books, and when Lark couldn't keep up, they literally take like it's. So what this book, if you guys don't know, the world gets to a point where there's 16 families basically in the world that have the most money. They take over every government. There's no more governments. They're their own governments. They don't have to worry about anybody else. They're like money disappears. You're kind of taken care of if you're with the family, and you're kind of on your own if you're not. And the whole entire world changed, where it's like, you know, this whole 1% thing and 99% thing is like to the max. And so now you get to a point where all these families are warring, and you know, they have these super soldiers that are the Lazari or the Lazarus for each family who like fight for them. That's just like such an on tip of the iceberg kind of approach. You have to just read it. I would say if you read the first trade or the first 5 issues though, and you don't like it, it's not for you. Like it doesn't change throughout. It is like a very gritty, real world. Oh yeah, I mean I just can't say enough about it. So I mean I know I've been rambling now, but I fucking love Lazarus so much. So I definitely put that as like my favorite book that's come out since we started.
Yeah, definitely.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Image, baby. I still am that Image guy.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Let's brew this Lazarus up.
Yeah.
John, now you dropped Thunderbolts #1 last time.
Right.
Okay, so what's happening this time around?
Well, I think I'm gonna drop Thunderbolts 1 again, if that's okay.
She still needs some juice.
She still needs some juice.
Oh, you still have it!
And I brought issue 2 as well.
Yeah!
So, yay. So, the reason why I dropped these, I don't remember what episode it was. God, we were in like the 60s or 50s, I'm sure. I don't remember. It was at my old apartment. And the reason why I did this was Thunderbolts, I love the first arc, so when they announced they're coming back, and they got a lot of my favorites, like Venom, and, you know, Red Hulk's cool, and Deadpool, and Punisher, I was like, dude, no way. That's awesome. So I read through it. You still can, which is kind of weird. The pages are all crinkly and sad now. But it was just so bad.
You just so didn't like it.
I was so upset.
He was so mad about it that he bought issue #2 still.
No, I bought them at the same time. I bought them at the same time.
Who was the artist on that one at the time?
Steve Dillon.
Dill,
he's amazing. I mean, he's
once again our argument. You like Dillon, you like JR, and I do not care for that. For that reason.
I get it, but I think Dillon is like literally nobody does Punisher better than him. He did all of Preacher is Dillon. I mean, like he's my fucking fave, man.
But I just couldn't get over how bad it was, so unfortunately, we're bringing it back.
And I read it as well, and as much of the art was, I did like the art. It's bad.
Yeah.
And I read it. I think I have it in my collection still wrapped up, because I liked it when it hit to Nodo, and then some of the other stuff that was after. But it was a good idea. It was Red Hulk got these people, basically told them, we're going to do as a group favors. So we are going to pull a name out of the hat, and whoever needs a favor done.
Drop it while he's talking. I mean, this is nonsense. He can't back himself out of the corner. And I'm about to just drop Mike in the Lazurus Pit if he keeps talking.
I will come back even stronger.
So, goodbye.
I'm gonna let these soak. And again, we're voting. You guys, and be sure to follow along on future episodes too, because you'll be seeing more of these two issues and their adventures. With how bad they sound.
I hope you got your Hep C shot for that.
All right, guys. Well, this is a monumentous occasion because we finally introduced these guys back to the Lazurus Pit. And as you know, Raja Ghul comes back weaker and weaker every time he does it. So this is already the second dip. You don't want to see what's going to happen.
Yep.
But we do have some comics that are going first dip. All right. And this is something that is going to be a little controversial, I know. Because
I got
we have our rival show, Wednesday Comics, our number one enemies in the galaxy, Wednesday Comics podcast. Recently, Garrett said that he needed to talk to John because there was an issue with something he had.
I like the nip thing.
Well, guess what, Garrett, Marvin, and Alex? Darth Vader 1 sucked. Sucked so bad that nobody wanted it, okay? And John, I'm going to let you do the honors.
Alright, well, you guys, we wanted to give this book a proper Sith funeral, so it's going to have to be dipped. I'm afraid so. So this is my copy.
Yep, show it to the camera. Let them know.
Let them know. Tell them. You see this book? Throw it
John
in your cheap beer.
spent $5 on that comic mere weeks ago.
Yep.
Dum 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 dum.
Oh, I thought you were doing a Death March.
let's do the funeral Death March remix.
Yeah.
I was doing funeral. I'm sorry, guys. And you know what? I felt the same way as John.
No, he edits it, cuts, and he just grabs John's comic.
So some shots have been fired across the bow.
Fired.
Yep.
Darth Vader, you gonna come with the number one issue that's $5? You better bring it, son. Not this weakness.
Yeah.
I know you'll reboot in another year, and I'll give you another shot.
Yep.
All right. Well.
Well,
I think the Lazurus Pit is still hungry.
Yeah. And I'll jump into it. I mean,
after all that Thunderbolt.
my problem is I often talk. I'm not just a Marvel lover. I do love my DC. I enjoyed a series run by Gail Gamon.
Gail Gamon.
Her Secret Six and Gail Simone. And what I really enjoyed was Secret Six back with Bane and all that. When we got to this reboot of it, and we kept switching artists every couple issues, and the characters weren't fleshed out, and they were ridiculous, and I was just getting more and more sick of it.
The worst Catman stuff ever.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah.
And then there were times where she would introduce a character, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is going to be great, and then she would push all the wrong pieces of the character, and it just continued to spiral and get worse. I wanted so much out of this book. There is no hope. I'm sorry, Secret Six. Sorry, Simone, on this one, but you're getting wet.
Oh, we'll see you later. Hopefully, from this, a new Secret Six series will
rise from
Secret Six.
Series 666. All right, guys, man.
I'm going to be the one breaking tradition because I have one that I think is the worst book that I picked up, but I can't bring myself to destroy it because
Ultra Nerd.
Yeah.
Unless I have another copy of it, I've got to at least keep it. It's in my collection now, for better or for worse.
All right.
And that is this one that I picked up at a shop in Portland, I believe it was. The first SFA issue, Fantastic Furry Stories. Now, whatever is your thing, that's fine. I just picked it up because I'm like, that's going to be an interesting conversation starter.
Yeah.
And then I actually started flipping through it, and it's nothing but there's a picture every once in a while, but it's mainly like somebody's blog and fan fiction about furries.
Oh, yeah.
And
You
it just
got
goes
hosed.
on and
Yeah.
on. And of course, you couldn't open it in the shop.
Ken bought a
Yeah.
magazine, thought it was a comic book. I
Yeah.
mean, come on.
So I was really disappointed in it, but just for the sheer fact of its weirdness and bizarreness,
Yeah.
I think I'm going to have to hang on to
Have
it.
you ever read it all the way through?
The stories I just can't. I get partway into them. I'm like, the writing isn't that great. The artwork. Let me find you a picture. The artwork really. I mean, isn't.
So the
isn't
thing is,
fabulous.
guys, this could literally have like some of the best writing in the history of the world.
Yeah.
But we don't know.
We'll never know.
And the funny thing is, it's Shanda's Fantasy Art Comics, and originally Shanda's Fantasy Art Comics were not furry related. They were actually started by a guy who used to work for the Archie comics. And
Oh,
he was a
cool.
pretty. I don't remember the name off the top of my head, but he was actually a pretty big name in the Archie comics. And then he went and did this, and it just got weird. And so, unfortunately, not my favorite. Definitely, probably one of my worst purchases. But I can't bring myself to get rid of it.
It's clearly better than Darth Vader _1.
Yeah.
Well, apparently that doesn't take much.
All right, man. 6 years. Here's to another 6, though, right, boys?
We can do
Yeah.
it.
Oh, yeah. I'm not going to stop reading comics anytime soon. Even when I did stop reading comics, I still picked up 3 books a month.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, that's how it goes. All right, though. Good episode.
Good.
666.
Yeah.
Hey guys, we are scared of the devil, and don't mess around with the devil. He's scary. Okay, this was all for fun.
Yeah.
So this is our little PSA at the end. You know, just
No Ouija boards, voodoo
yeah.
dolls.
I mean,
Yeah.
come on,
Yeah.
guys. Come on, talk to your parents first, okay, kids?
Remember, don't summon demons without parent permission.
Yeah.
And throw away those 9-sided dice today.
Oh my goodness.
Only use the
Alright.
dodecahedron.
Oh.
It's too nerdy.
Oh. All right, you
All right,
guys.
guys.
Well, in the spirit of the show and all things evil, we hope that blessings come for these titles' future reincarnations. Yeah. And other than that, we hope that you guys keep rocking out with us, just like our opener rocking it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed our show. Hit us up if you have any future show topics you want to see have happen. A comicbooklook@gmail.com. @ a comic book look on Twitter. And join us on Facebook. Continue the discussion with us there. A comic book look for sure. So, thank you guys. 6 years awesome. 6 years down. We got 6 years more to go at least. So,
That's right.
we're gonna set the ship a sail here. Hit you with some great music. Keep it comics for sure, man.
There's the pit, my friends. All the comic goodness, hopefully gaining energy. Secret 6, Darth Vader, double dose of Darth Vader, and the original Thunderbolts. See as they come rise, it's rising out!
Okay, we set the spirits of these painted titles free.
I think it just runs off.
Just glossy.
Don't say that we never did a community service.